Okay, welcome back. Christian Men Unscripted. I'm here with John Hardy and Seth Lazan. No guest this week. We're going to talk about current affairs today. Big time stuff. I think we had something important happen last week. I don't know what it was. Oh, I do know what it was. Did you guys see the news today? That a bunch of monkeys escaped from a laboratory?
No.
Oh, yeah.
You being serious right now?
No, I'm 100% serious. I'm like, hey, that's Planet of the Apes.
So that was like last week?
No, that was today.
But
it'll be last week when this comes out because we recorded a couple days early. Well, 3 days. But yeah, that's crazy, right?
Yeah.
That is hilarious. I haven't seen
escaped,
it.
yeah.
Clearly, I don't pay attention to the news.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't. It was just this morning.
Yeah.
Oh.
And they're like, oh, they're trying to lure them in with apples. I'm like, man, if they bite somebody, it's crazy. Yeah. I'm like, isn't that the first Planet of the Apes? Isn't that how they escaped from the lab?
It is.
Lab?
I have to share very quickly then because of this happening. Were you were working, but were you working the day that the chimpanzee in Las Vegas?
Yeah, I didn't go, but I was listening to it on the radio.
Okay. So you listened to the work radio, right?
Yes.
So did I. I have to share this. So just so you know, Seth, just real fast, you brought this up. See how we're unscripted. I had no idea anything about what you're talking about. Many years ago now, whatever. We were working as cops. There's a giant chimpanzee. Chimpanzees are big, right? You always see the cute baby ones in the movies and TV shows because that's their cute baby, you know. Yeah. But eventually they get like 6 feet tall, gigantic, super strong, crazy. Way in northwest Las Vegas, and if anyone's listening to this, please don't be too sad about this because one of our friends had to actually shoot and kill this chimpanzee because the story was this thing was violent and aggressive. These things rip people's faces and stuff off. They are scary, dude. Yeah. This thing gets loose in Las Vegas and in 95 area. It was the greatest radio traffic. I am not kidding when I tell you that I have ever listened to.
Sound like a horror movie.
I literally, you know what it felt like? I am not kidding. So I was a patrol sergeant at the time, meaning I'm driving around in a police car. Tons of guys were going, hey, we got to draw the line in the sand. This chimp can't get past this intersection, because it's attacking cars. It literally grabbed a lady, a Suburban. Mm-hmm. It grabbed her tire on her car and squeezed and popped the tire. That's how strong that literally happened. Wow. And is jumping on cars. Bro, I had to pull over in a safe space where I couldn't be attacked myself. So in policing, you don't need to be fully educated, but when something bad happens all the way across town, clearly not every cop in the entire city has to go because then the rest of the city wouldn't have cops. So I had to maintain command and control of a certain area while I sent like half the guys go help with this, right? We still have to police the rest of the city. Okay. But dude, the radio traffic was so good that I had to keep my area channel on and switch and then have another radio where I could hear their area channel. I was like a kid in the 1940s listening to a radio program. Like, you know how they would do like, yay, like just sitting there with their, like laying on the floor, kicking your feet behind you, all so excited to listen to this story on the radio. It sounded like the most exciting story. Because guys are like, the chimpanzee is on my car. And you can hear the noise in the background.
You can hear the chimpanzee screaming.
You can hear a chimp. You can hear all this. You can hear banging on he's trying to rip my lights off the top of my car. Yep. I mean...
It was crazy.
And it went on for a long time. And then finally, awesome guy who hunts and stuff all the time. And he even said he didn't want to have to do it. But finally, one of the guys had to, get out and kill this chimpanzee because it's a violent, giant animal that no one can control.
I mean, you've seen the video.
And they put one of them to sleep with tranquilizer.
Yeah.
Remember, they were like,
there
were two loose.
Yeah.
And the guys are like, we got to tranquilize. The point of the whole story is, I could have been killed. Because going back to the colonel, we had the colonel on last week, all those conditions, condition white, condition yellow. Bro, I was as condition white, which means I was so oblivious to anything outside of my car because I was literally leaning into the radio. It was the most fun radio program I've ever listened to in my life, dude. So fun. Okay, anyway, but I'm sorry for all the damage it caused and that they had to kill the chimp, but whatever, it's fine.
Yeah, man.
So that's going to happen now? I mean, tell me again about the monkeys. Are they chimps?
They showed a picture. I don't think they're as big as that. They look smaller, but I'm like, Planet of the Apes is one of my favorite movies, even the original in the 70s.
Here it comes.
It was great. But the different orangutan, everybody, it was great, man. Yeah. But then I saw the newscast and I was like, oh, that's weird. Sounds like something I've heard before in a science fiction movie.
Okay, but listen, sometimes movies and stories like that, science fiction, it propagates fear in people's minds, not unlike all these crazy people who are legitimately losing their mind after this election. We always say we're not a real political thing, but sometimes the political conversation is the conversation of faith.
We talk current events.
It's a conversation of faith because if you're a follower in Jesus, we know our God is sovereign always, and we can relax. We're not given a spirit of fear. Yeah. And so whoever your candidate was, which by the way, if I'm not mad at you if you voted for Kamala, but I'm sad for you if you think that the candidate that you think should be in charge is the answer to everything. I'm sad for you for that. Because, by the way, I'm sad for you for that if you're a massive Trump follower as well. I praise God that the election went the way it did. I really do. I believe God's given this nation another chance to get right. It's an opportunity for Christian churches to stand up, to share love. But to think that he's the end all as well, you're wrong. I'm just telling you.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's the rhetoric that they both of them use, is that if you elect me, I'm the savior. That's every election is that I'm the one that's the right answer. But we know that in presidential races is that they have plans, but Congress, Senate, they have the ability to vote those things in, and that's the beauty of our country.
Checks and balance, but
there's checks and balances.
Well, the Republicans probably own. Well, we'll see. That's not said yet. By the time this comes out, it might be, but they might have the Senate and the House. Which, as a conservative Republican, I feel like that's the values that I hold. I want those values, but I don't know if it's going to be perfect.
Yeah.
Be honest with you, my dad was a Democrat, and I probably would have been a Democrat because he worked in steel mills in Youngstown, Ohio. So they were very pro-union. I voted a Democrat governor. Who was his name?
Oh,
Before Lombardo. Here.
Sisolak? You voted for him?
Yeah, shush. But it was during the time our union, I think our union wanted us to, because it was like right as COVID and everything was coming, or I don't remember, something was going on where they wanted to take money from our pensions, the Republicans.
Isn't that funny? Selfishly, it comes down to money with the unions.
Yeah, they want.
Understandably so,
but like I didn't know, I didn't follow politics. I'm like, okay, I don't want my pension to be hurt, so I'll vote Democrat. And my dad was a very staunch Democrat. He didn't like Bush. He was in Vietnam War. He thought he was a warmonger. He's like, I am voting for Gore, I think.
I don't know.
But like I said, he was a Democrat. Democrats were pro-union, kind of moderate, but they've gone so far left. It's crazy. I mean, I don't understand it. That's why I vote the way I do, because, I mean, did you see the boxer? That's also current affairs. That boxer from the Olympics, they came out. They're like, no, she's a woman. No, he proven he's a man. He's 100%
Oh, wow, okay.
man.
Yeah.
And he's got a women's gold medal from the Olympics.
Yeah.
I'm like, he hit that girl so hard that she just quit. She's like, I've never been hit that hard in my life.
Right.
And it's like, well, that's what they stand for. I'm like, I don't care what you do. You're invited to my house no matter what race, religion, trans, gay. I don't care. If you're a good person, it's not for me to judge you. You're welcome at my table, but don't put your values on me and get mad at me because I think different.
Right.
I don't get mad at you for what you do. I don't care. But it seems like this election, the reason I voted the way I did was because, do I love Donald Trump? I don't know. He's a flawed human being, obviously, right?
Yeah.
But do you think that she's not flawed? I think she's very flawed. I don't think she was capable of running the country. I don't think she's capable of talking to world leaders, to talking to these dictators, where the Democrats got mad because he talked to Putin, or he talks to Xi Jinping, the China, or what's the North Korean guy, the little rocket man guy?
Kim Jong-un.
Kim Jong-un. I'm like, you got to keep your enemies close. I mean, what's wrong with that?
Right. Diplomacy matters.
That's why I stay friends with you guys, for crying out loud.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, like I said, I have a friend he's a friend of mine. He was like, please tell me why you voted. It was on Instagram. He didn't tell me why you would vote for a convicted felon. Well, first of all, I don't think he is. I think the DOJ was weaponized against him to try and get his political party to not run because they knew he would probably win.
Yeah.
So I don't count that. Does he? And he is not presidential. He doesn't say the right things. Well, people like that. They're like, hey, I don't want to hear your BS that you spout. Like, you come out there and you say the right thing all the time. I want to hear the truth. I might not like it.
Yeah.
But I want to hear it. So I don't think he's an ex-felon. I actually feel like they're going to probably drop those cases now. That's what I heard. I don't know if that's true. It could be wrong.
Seems like a smart move.
Yeah. But also, I don't need him to be, politically correct. I don't like it. And I get tired of these celebrities telling me who I should vote for and making me feel like I'm less than. You don't have to pay the bills that I got to pay because nothing affects you because you're a million billionaires.
I found that funny too, by the way.
Yeah.
The campaign was always like, oh, the billionaires. Everybody hates the billionaires when it's actually the billionaires who are paying for the most expensive campaign of all time. How else did they get that money in? But yet, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just the elitism. We're too stupid to know who to vote for or how to prayerfully approach an election.
Yeah.
What about the emotion involved in it?
Yeah, it's crazy. It's like, same thing. If she would have won, I told you guys in other podcasts, I would have woke up and just been like, oh, I don't agree, but that's the way we voted. So, okay. I ain't mad at you. I ain't mad at anybody. My wife voted for Hillary Clinton. I don't know if she wanted me to say that. But I was like,
I'm finding out all kind of stuff about your household. We're not a political podcast, but I'm not coming back.
But since she's even officially changed her political party to Republican because of the way they've gone so far left and progressive. It's outrageous. I mean, you got moderate Democrats like Joe Manchin and Tulsi Gabbard. They're independent and Republicans now. And I would vote for a woman. I'd probably vote for Tulsi Gabbard. I don't know because I don't know all of her politics, but that's a woman that I could get behind as a presidential candidate. Mm-hmm. But she's a Republican now, so it's much easier.
I don't even know who she is, if I'm being honest. That shows you how uneducated I am.
Yeah, it's funny. I didn't really look at news very much. Even like during North Carolina, that I had the hurricane that hit North Carolina. I went to church and they were like, "Oh, we got to pray for North Carolina," and I was like, "What happened? What happened there?"
So fun. Yeah, I mean, I'm the same way. I don't really watch a lot of news.
But there are things that you can watch the news for, and but if you inundate yourself with these news things, it can really impact your mood. Like if you watch if you watch CNN or Fox News, for more than a half hour, they're going to be yelling at people.
I watch it all day.
Screaming. All right. that explains why you're so angry.
I'm not angry, dude. I like to flip back and forth. I flip back to CNN. Sometimes I couldn't because they would make me mad.
Yeah.
Like,
well, they are. I mean,
and then there's bias on Fox News. My wife gets mad at some of them. But I think Fox News is more, they definitely lean conservative and pro-Trump, but they definitely don't lose their minds like some people on the other channels do.
It was frustrating during the election night. Mm-hmm. I did the same thing. I would flip back and forth, as everybody. I would assume. Well, most people probably would stick with, I guess, to their news channel. Mm-hmm. I like to flip back and forth a little bit just to sort of see if there is a balance. Mm-hmm. And it was very interesting. I want to talk a little bit about the emotion of the election because people, for some reason, have this overinflated sense of what the president can and cannot do on day one kind of a thing where the entire world is going to fall apart. He's immediately going to put every woman who ever wants to have as many abortions as she wants into prison and all these. There's this crazy amount of fear that even as you're watching the news cycle, that they continually propagate while you're watching it. I would go to CNN or go to those more of a liberal news just to sort of see. And they literally continued to push that even during the election. Even when it looked like their candidate was losing, they were like, well, there's still a chance because if this doesn't happen, then basically, ladies out there, people get out and vote because if this doesn't happen, every woman in America will never be able to go see a doctor again. You have no more health care of any kind, which somehow they tied that with not being able to get abortions, which how many abortions do people have to get? Apparently more than I ever thought.
There was an election day, a guy at the polls, and he was like, I'm here for my daughter. I want her to have her right. I'm like, your daughter's 8. You're already thinking about her getting an abortion?
Right, and by the way, they have...
Why don't you raise her right so she won't need to get her... Use protection. Don't go out there, wait till you get married. Just raise your kid right.
I mean, I'm just telling you, it's crazy, but it's more the fear-mongering.
Right.
And then now the emotion after all these people, you watch all these videos, which you have to make fun of. You just have to. I'm sorry. You just have to make fun of.
Jimmy Kimmel was the best. That dude cries at it. I'm like, bro.
He needs to get slapped in the face, dude.
Yeah,
I know it's not very Christian, but sometimes you have to slap people.
I want to say a word, but I'm not going to.
Yeah.
Bad word.
Anyway, and Seth, you were talking about that though, about the emotion. I know I keep using that word, but it cracks me up because now you see all these people who are legitimately falling apart, like their world is so because they lost and nobody likes to lose.
Yeah, and you tie your identity to your political party, and that is a very dangerous thing to do for anyone. Right side or left side, you tie your identity to your political party. If they win, then you're good. If they lose, then you fall apart. That is, it's unhealthy, and it shows that you're not a balanced. You're not balanced, or even have an identity apart from who's going to win or who's going to lose. Yeah. And that's the issue that I just was thinking is it's not easy. Obviously, whether you're a female or you're an immigrant or you feel like there's you can feel like, oh man, they're going to come after me. I guess I'll say like from when I worked in urban ministry for 4.5 years and a lot of our students were immigrants. This was 2016. And so during that election, there was a lot of fear within the school. Part of it was, because the media, portrayed those things, but they're real fears that they had. But if you tie your your existence to a political party. It's not a helpful thing for you in your life because you're responding out of fear to something or you're reacting out of fear instead of responding with a heart and a mind that is, I'm going to do what I need to do regardless of what happens. I might go back, but I need to make sure I'm putting my best foot forward in this situation, in every situation. And that's something that I want to make sure that I understand, that people have emotions, and specifically the day two after election, it's not very logical, and it's on both sides. And I want to give grace to those who are experiencing those things, but also to
laugh at them. Oh, wait, no.
Also to
I'm sorry if you're upset about that.
I'm not upset.
Not you, just people listening.
People, okay. You
But
should
I don't think
apologize.
so.
Well, being upset is one thing, but overreacting and acting like an absolute nut job is a whole nother thing.
And there's like with media, there's just so many things that we think are big issues, or we think that they're the biggest thing that's going on, but the reality is a small minority of the issues that that specifically Democrats are running on. It affects a small minority of people in terms of transgenderism and those types of things, but that doesn't change the fact that some people are experiencing fear, and I hope that they experience love from people who on both sides, when they say, hey, we want to make this country good, we want to do the best we can for this country. We want the same thing. We're just going about different ways, and I want you to see it.
Go finish. Sorry.
Yeah, and we want to be able to see from each other's perspectives and say, okay, I understand where you're coming from, but I want you to understand where I'm coming from, and maybe we can come to a place where we can show love and kindness. Like in my at a Bible study, and someone said, I want to thank God for this specific person, and
Who was it?
it was Trump.
Okay, you can say it.
Okay, they want to thank God for Trump, and I said, we need to pray for
out loud.
Yeah,
Fine.
that's fine. Yeah, so I'm not saying. I'm saying.
I
I was
know.
like, we need to pray for our leaders. Well, we needed to pray for our leaders before and now, and we need to pray for our House and our Senate. And my goal is that, and my prayer is that Trump and any other person would use their platforms for the glory of God and not for their own self gain.
Yeah, that's the key, right?
Mm-hmm.
Big time. What's funny is going on this, you do have a tendency, a majority of the social media that you see, of course, it gets popularized because it's so ridiculous when you see these extreme leftists, the woke leftists that are literally falling apart right now and doing these crazy person videos, that something that you rarely see from a conservative side. You know what I mean? But they don't necessarily represent the view, or they shouldn't. We hope they don't, of the entire Democratic Party. Of course they don't, obviously.
Yeah.
But they, unfortunately, that's why I believe this election went the way it did. Part of it, of course, I believe it's just God's sovereignty always. He allows us to be engaged in our political processes. That's actually very biblical. We should be. That's a responsibility. But at the same time, it's this big loss, this big giant red map of America, when they're showing the red versus the blue. It tells you that what has happened is there was this platform that was specifically pushing this minority of individuals, that is, those who only just care about abortion, period. Like this, almost the entire ad campaign was get out and get as many abortions as you can. Which, by the way, the president can and can't do a national ban. That's a whole nother. It's ridiculous. It's fear mongering and propaganda. It's literally like Nazi propaganda. That's how crazy it is, and any other propaganda out there. And or this fear, like, everyone needs to be able to do whatever they want, the transgender community kind of a thing. And it's crazy because they went so extreme left, so extreme woke. I am praising God that I see, okay, people in this nation, by the way, even There's an entire movement in the LGBTQ community of conservatives that are gay conservatives. They're like, dude, we might be. I might be
conservative. Probably won the election for Trump when he went out to Pennsylvania and
for
got
sure
Amish to hundreds of thousands of people to vote and register and go vote.
But because the point is, what they're saying is, look, I might have a same-sex attraction, but that doesn't mean that I think it's cool to let a 10-year-old go turn into a man because all of a sudden they think the little girl thinks she's a boy and that we could do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you're getting crazy here, people. Yeah, crazy.
I saw a thing where parents, I don't know how true this is, how you see things where, my son likes the color pink, so I think we should start wearing dresses. My son liked pink when he was a kid. Loved pink. Yeah. Sorry, AJ. He might still like pink.
I like pink,
I
dude.
know you do. Of course you do. No, I'm just kidding.
You're talking to Seth. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, of course. I love it.
But it's like, imagine me if I was a parent going, oh, babe, AJ likes pink, so I think he wants to be a girl. Let's dress him up. Look, when you grow up and you're 18 years old, you do what you want. If you just be a good person, that's all I'm asking. Be a law-abiding citizen. I don't agree with you. I don't have to agree with you. It's not for me to judge you. And I told you guys this. I've had friends that are gay. I had a friend that was a transgender. I don't care. I don't care what you do.
No, you can have a loving and objective conversation.
And we did. We had great conversations because I worked graveyard and we always talked. But like, don't push that agenda on my 10-year-old, on my 13-year-old, on my, you know what? That's their decision. They're going to find it anyway. I don't need my politicians making it happen and then going behind our back and putting like books in schools and stuff. Just teach my kids, educate my kids. That's it. Not on this stuff. So I think they went way too far too. Because like I said, there was a lot of moderate Democrats. Democrats were very moderate. I probably would have been a Democrat 10 years ago.
Yeah, not me in my whole life, but I can appreciate an old school process. In fact, we were just in Texas several weeks ago now, and we went to the six-story museum or whatever they call it, where Kennedy, literally you can go right exactly where you're shot in the car, of course, and if people who've been to Dallas are familiar with what I'm talking about. But it's interesting, the highway, the road is just right there. You can see it, and they have X marks the spot, and it's interesting to watch those old videos of Kennedy being assassinated, and then you go up and you see where Lee Harvey Oswald shot him from the exact window, and it was a fascinating thing. John F. Kennedy was, by the way, way far from perfect. The guy was a massive womanizer and all these other things. I'm not trying to turn it into, whatever. The point is, but he was he actually was an awesome political leader, and his wife was an amazing political leader, recognizing the role. Back then, Republican, Democrat, they bashed each other back then. By the way, they bashed each other all back in the early 1800s, the political candidates. You know what I mean? The presidential campaigns have always bashed each other to some degree.
Yeah.
But there has always been more of a public square conversation about, hey, we're trying to get to the same place. This is just our thoughts on how we're going to get there. This is our thoughts on how we're going to get there. And Kennedy would have been probably, I hate to break it to you guys, he would have probably been a Republican today. Yeah. Especially with the way the Democrat, that's what I'm talking about. I would bet a huge amount.
I'm talking about.
Yeah. And so that's what I'm saying. But it's been almost since then, since you had two parties that really wanted the same thing. Now you see two parties that are almost extreme to the point that, like, the Democratic Party now is literally, we just kind of want to be socialistic. Like North Korea's form of government sounds pretty good to us. I mean, they're saying the opposite, but it's almost the same, where everyone should be the same. Everyone should accept, not only accept, but embrace and love and champion our crazy ideologies. And that is, they don't even see it though, that's what they're trying to do is, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, you can't just objectively, like Alan says, we can all come to the same table. I would love to share Jesus with you, but that's between you and God if you want to believe it. That's my ideology. That's my faith. That's what I know to be true. But I'm not going to like hold you down.
Nope.
And torture you until you believe. I'm not going to be in your face so hard. I'm going to give you the respect and dignity to make your own choice. And likewise, if I disagree with your lifestyle, I don't hate you for your lifestyle. I just disagree with it, and we can agree to disagree. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's crazy though.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, two more points that I heard before we finish up here. One was that you can't like Trump because he inherited Obama's economy. Okay, I don't know how true that is, maybe, but he kept the economy. If he inherited it, he kept it for those 4 years until COVID hit. What happened to these last 4 years? Well, I want that economy back. So that's one of the reasons. And I'm not a racist. I'm not a sexist. I'm not a misogynist. I love everybody. I don't care. So I think those lies are ridiculous, And I think most people did racists vote for Trump? Probably. Yeah.
Right.
Maybe. I don't know. There's bad cops. I worked with bad cops. Not all cops are good, but I don't like the defund the police movement that they push. I think you should train cops better in these smaller towns that don't know what they're doing. So those are the reasons why. So it's that's why I did it, and I'm not a racist, and I might be wrong. In 4 years, I might be like, man, I shouldn't have voted for that guy. But I don't think so.
Yeah, well, that's I think that's dangerous. Is in 4 years, what can someone really do in the government? Like it's not a ton,
We'll see,
but there's a lot of external circumstances that come and go, like with President Bush, the election, the terrorist attacks.
Yeah.
There's then Obama comes in after the recession, and so there's a lot of these different external circumstances that, because of different decisions that maybe the Fed makes or maybe the Congress makes that impact it, and the person that's the head of the country gets credit for all the the things that are going on, and whether that's good or bad, I couldn't tell you, but it is for us to be able to say, hey, like as when I was in urban ministry, like, there was a lot of kids who thought whenever they saw a Trump flag, they assumed that person was racist.
Yeah.
And so I just wanted to let them know that, like, hey, look, I know that sometimes you can experience these things, you can have these different thoughts, but that those are not always true, and I'm always here for you. Mm-hmm. And these kids felt free enough to be like, yeah, when I did see a truck, I would think that they're racist, or I saw a Trump flag, I think they're racist. And I was like, I understand that because of what you're hearing and what's going on. But there's obviously nuance to all of these things, and so what we need to do as Christians, as Christian men, is to lead our families well and to help those who are listening to not let the culture do it. We need to be the people that are setting the tone, helping our kids find purpose and meaning within their lives, so that when they are of age, when they're 18, that they can make the best decisions that God has asked them to do. Yeah. And that's what I pray for my kids all the time. Is I pray that they would follow God to a place where even unto death, but obviously I don't want that. Right. But my heart is that they would follow God and do what they believe God is calling them to do, regardless of what other people say.
I love it.
Yeah,
that's
I love
my
it.
goal.
You got anything else?
I know we're going to wrap up here in a minute, but we had Lieutenant Colonel Dave Grossman on last week, and
check out that podcast.
Yeah, please go check it out. He's so loaded. Like, that guy is so intelligent and just such a wonderful perspective. But he kind of said it just in summary for me. It's like, okay, the election's passed. The inauguration is a few months away now. We have to continue to pray for our leaders. Something I had to do when Biden was elected. I had to literally the next day, like you already said, Alan, when he was elected. I didn't want that. And I believe we can see the results of a bad presidency right now, by the way. Yeah. But I still continue to pray for him. And I'm going to be honest with you, it's kind of hard sometimes. Yeah. But
I'm sure he did some good things. I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah, I doubt it, but whatever. So, but anyways.
That's how, like, when they get in office, we're like, yeah, we root. And then, like, 2 years down the road, I'm like, what's going on? I don't know.
Well, there are some big things. Let's be honest. You can see, like, when the day Reagan, like, look at Reagan, the Berlin Wall, Iran immediately let go American hostages. There's already news of Hamas kind of like, oh, we better chill out here. Like, literally, globally, the world sees this.
Hey, I'm ready to negotiate.
That's right. I mean, so there is because they see there's going to be strong leadership. Yeah. And that people will actually leverage the power that they have to make sure that there is some sense of peace and stability. But the bottom line is, Colonel Grossman pointed out, as a believer in Jesus, we're always in spiritual warfare. It's a custody battle between satanic and truth, like satanic things, and then our God who wants us to know Him and love Him. And if you are a believer, you are a deployed soldier into a combat zone until we get to go home and be with our Lord forever. Amen. And so I love that sentiment, and I love that thought, no matter how this election just went, which I believe we're blessed for it. Yeah. But either way, if you're a believer, recognize this is not your home anyway. The best we can do is live our life for Christ, share Jesus with others, and try to actually continue to point out that don't be so afraid of all these things. This is propaganda, whatever side. Yeah. Seek God first, seek His kingdom first, and then live that out. And you can you'd see an amazing thing happen in this world.
Yeah. So. All right. I think we can end on that, right?
Yeah.
All right. Seth, I'm sorry your girl lost.
Yeah, be blessed.
Be blessed.